Okay, so dear Dharma practitioners, be comfortable yourself and relax your body. Keep your back straight, neck head straight in one line and your right palm on your left. So gently close your eyes and bring attention to this bell sound. And while you're focusing to the sound, mentally relax your body, relax your mind, and relax your breathing with your thoughts. So do nothing extra. Just follow the sound, please. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Exalted One, the fully Enlightened One. So, dear Dhamma practitioners, in these ongoing meditation sessions, we mainly try to share some basic information for yourself to build up a very clear and a very solid spiritual foundation. So when it comes to your own practice, so you have to remember that whatever that you understand, whatever that you interpret yourself, going to be your teachings, not what you hear. So what you hear will help you to understand yourself something. But just by hearing, not going to bring the total understanding. So while you're hearing, you have to have the clarity in you. If you hold it to some information, so the idea or kind of like your own point of view, when you hear something, you will mix that, whatever the ideas or the teachings with your own things, and maybe then by the time you're going to come up with something new. And maybe that's not going to help for your practice. So then you have to be very clear, because the thing is this, whatever we know so far, not enough for us to get out of this path. So we need something new. Without bringing something new, you can't find the new solutions for your life. So anything the same. So whatever this life itself, it's kind of like a question. So you look for answer. And tomorrow and our future, our samsaric journey, and itself kind of like a question. So using your own thoughts, ideas, if you try to bring the answer, then you already have the answer. But what we need to know, that so far, whatever the information that we carry within us, not enough or it's not capable to get the right answer for us. So then repeating the same thing, we can't bring something new. So that's why when it comes to meditation, so one thing is slowly you have to drop the most of unnecessary informations that you carry within yourself. It is not easy. Why? But that most of the information that we carry within us related to the self-centered idea, related to I am. You define yourself using that unnecessary information. So that's why it is not easy. But when you keep practice little by little, when you develop the tranquility state, it will help you to slowly release this. So when it comes to that, rather than looking for what is right or what is wrong, rather than trying to struggle with something, rather than resisting, what you need to do, you have to develop the awareness. Because once the awareness becomes sharper and clear, once the mindfulness becomes clear, what will happen as a result of that, that unnecessary informations will go away. So you no need to think about it, and you no need to select, oh, this is important, this is not important, like that. In ordinary life, we do it. But this is totally different way of understanding. So that's why rather than focusing to informations, start to focus yourself to develop the awareness, develop the mindfulness. Don't waste your time to look what is right or what is wrong. Because that most of time, that from the childhood, that what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad came to us, not knowingly the very essence of it, but most of time we hold these old ideas out of the rules and regulations and the discipline. So that most of the discipline and from our parents, from our teachers, from our culture, society, gave to us not to take us towards the understanding. Most of discipline gave to us to control us and keep the power within them, even the parents. When the parents want to keep the power within them, they try to give discipline to children to control the children. And the school the same. Not to take the child to understanding, not to child to develop, not to child to take towards the truth. So the most of time, even the society tells us, don't do this, do that. This is right, this is wrong. The culture teach us because they want to control us. Somebody need to keep the power. And it's kind of like a developing hierarchy. Even with the religions, the same. So the most of the spiritual practice, the same. But when it comes to the Buddha's teaching, it is totally different. The discipline you use only to purify yourself through this practice. And as a result of that, your bodily, verbally, mentally actions become more clear. And out of that clarity, that the outcome going to become more profitable for you and for others. It is not to hold anybody. It's not to divide anybody, not to keep someone away, or not to control somebody. So then if you use that kind of method to yourself to understand your own things, you are still in the same circle using things. And as example, when you go a little bit deeper, if you can catch it. So the most of time we do things or we don't do things to protect ourselves. The idea of self. Not to find the liberation, or not to find the kind of like not to find the profitable skills, not to make any profitable skills, but to protect ourselves, the idea of self, I am. So if you develop your discipline to protect the idea of self, that means your practice based on some kind of the shadow that you develop in you. There is somebody like you. So if you yourself work to protect that I am, you will never get out of that idea. So that doesn't mean you should, you should stay away from anything. No. But the thing is, when it comes to meditation, when it comes to listening, when it comes to practice yourself, you should not hold it to that self-centered mind or the self-centered idea. And so, because when it comes to tranquility state, as example, your body, your mind, your breathing become one. So when it comes to that, what will happen? Your perception and feelings, you can't divide, or you can't interpret using ideas, because to interpret or divide or explain the perception, you have to have dualistic mind. You have to have some other things to bring it to that to explain. And the feelings, as example, pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, and neutral feelings. So when in a real tranquility state, there's no pleasant feelings, or there's no unpleasant feelings, or there's no neutral feelings like that. You can't divide. So that's mean what? That's mean in a certain level in you, even though you experience this today with your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, and whatever you understand, there is a different way of understanding. So as example, it like this. In a very conventional level, when we say something, it doesn't match, or it doesn't go with our ideas, we say it doesn't make sense. So it doesn't make sense mean it doesn't have any kind of logical interpretation, or it doesn't have any meanings in it. So in the tranquility state, the more deeper level, the same thing. When it comes to your real tranquility state, it doesn't make any sense. Because if it doesn't make sense, what does that mean? You can explain it, you can interpret it. So for that, you have to have dualistic mind, and you have to have more other information. And for that, and according to you and somebody else, and there is a conversation, and in that conversation, you bring your previous ideas, or maybe your future plans. So in that level, in this conventional level, so it's going to become make sense means it has the ability to develop a clear conversation and build up a bridge in between others. So in day-to-day life, if you look very carefully, so whatever the perception, build a bridge within the moment of experience and the idea of I am. That's why it makes sense to us. That's why we have feelings. That's why out of the feelings, we bring the emotions. That's why out of the emotions, we react to the world. And out of that reactions, that is how we interpret the world. So that is what another way we call the very flux or the very network of this samsara. But in the when it comes to the very depth, if you look very carefully, when something comes, when you're breathing, when your body, when your mind all come together, in the depth of that experience, the experiencer and the experience both become the one. And then in that very level, you can't divide it to feelings, separate feelings. There's some feelings, but you can't bring it to conversation. To bring it to conversation, you have to transform it to kind of like an idea. So once it become idea, what will happen? Your experience become physical. So as example, another way, how the imagination become physical. So when whatever you imagine, once you write down, it become physical. That is how we manifest things. So the same thing happens when your experience, once you interpret, once you bring it to the words, what happens? It becomes the world. But in the deeper tranquility state, there is no such a conversation. So when you experience something, to bring it to words, what happened? You have a conversation inside you. So that conversation is the most powerful conversation. When you have that conversation inside you within yourself, and as a result of that, you have the conversation with others. So whatever you talk in day-to-day life with others, with your husband, wife, children, friends, and family members, it never comes suddenly out of your mouth. Most of things, most of time, it is in your head, maybe all day, maybe 1 week, 1 month, maybe it's in you. Like a echo, it's keep having that conversation. So then by the time you come to, you bring it as the words. But tranquility state, it's not like that. You experience something, in that very moment of experience, you're not going to transform it to words. And when it's not going to transform it to words, you can't bring it to sense. So that's why in the deeper tranquility state, you come to the point, you experience to the highest level, but it not belong to sense. It not belong to feelings. That is where you find the total freedom. Because we bound to this world, in this conventional world as human beings, we bound with the perception and feelings. So whatever that with other people or other things, with the society, we communicate, even though we communicate with the words, in the deeper, we try to inform the feelings. So we go behind this. While if you keep going behind these feelings, there's no end. But rather than go with the feelings, when the mindfulness means, in a certain level, you settle down with the feelings. It's a two different way. So that's why by the time you develop a total contentment in you, satisfaction, and the fullness and the newness in you, moment by moment, moment by moment. So that newness, that contentment, and will help you to get out of this cravingness. So this cravingness, another way we call it the desire. So once you get out of that, the deeper inner desire, this you find the total satisfaction within the moment as who you are. So otherwise, if you always try to explain things, interpret things, and bring it to words, bring it to action, remember, once you bring it to words, that words belong to something, and other thing is you are responsible for that words. When you make a statement, you are responsible. So you are responsible means you are responsible. You bound to the world. You bound to the world means you give yourself to the world. So then maybe there is no way you can bring back. It is very difficult. You have to pay for that. Maybe very high price you have to pay for that. So this happened as a result of conversation. But when you go deeper into practice, what happens? You come to the moment of experience without trying to communicate, without trying to put it to words. So that is another way that you can experience the tranquility state. You have no intention, you have no desire, you have no effort to convert it to words, because we have so much cravingness to convert into words. Always we try to say something and try to bring it to words. From childhood we have that. Knowing, unknowing, always we try. Even we think, we determine, I'm not going to say anything. Just go to sleep. Maybe while you're sleeping, you talk. This is how it happens. Because this is a deeper echo that keep happening in us. That is why it happened. So then you have to remember in day-to-day life. So to shut down that inner conversation, because that inner conversation build up this whole outside communication. So in tranquility state, little by little, if you come to that clarity, so by the time what will happen? You are capable to develop very clear mind, and out of that mind, out of that moment of experience, when you come to the total moment of experience without trying to convert it to words, you totally will see something else within you. So that is where you are capable to recognize impermanent, unsatisfactory nature and selflessness. So otherwise, This by words, if you try to understand impermanence, it's something else. So listening to talks, or listening to Dhamma talks, or listening to teacher, or listening to somebody will help for a certain level. But when it comes to you, there is a moment you have to drop it. So practicing will give the ability for yourself to drop that. But when you keep practice, it needs the effort. It needs the effort, but once you come to a certain level, you are capable to get out of that practice and experience the total freedom. And that is where you can come to the total liberation. So to develop your practicing part, we can't bring the liberation, we can't bring the transformation, but to develop your practice part, we can give some tools and help for you and encourage you, share the methods. But when it comes to you, you have to remember, while you practice, not to bound to the practice and keep the freedom and still use the method. So it is a skill. So when in any physical field, whatever the sports or whatever the things that the people practice, they have to keep practice. But when you really come to the moment, you have to drop the practice. So that is the level of vipassana. When it comes to the total moment of experience, can you get out of that inner conversation? Or you are holding to that, or you keep comparing and you keep arguing and you trying to validate your own ideas or like that. No. Before Neil Armstrong go to the moon, 3,000 times. He trained himself, But when he land to the moon, he never repeat that any moment that he practiced during that 3,000 times. He dropped that all the 3,000 methods and he completely became a new person. And that to become like that, it helped him to have the critical analytical understanding. So then you have to remember in day-to-day life, when you practice meditation, don't carry that your method, your system, your pattern, but you need that. But at the same time, drop that inner conversation. Don't try to develop that self-validation, and don't encourage that the self inside, and bring the total newness to yourself and experience the moment. And that will bring the transformation. So with that, let's get into practice a little bit now. So your right palm on your left and neck head straight in one line, and be comfortable with your posture. So bring attention to your body and scan head to toes yourself and say Supat Veva, or may I be well and happy 3 times. Take a moment and think. We gathered here in this moment to practice this ancient meditation technique. All the Buddhas, all the enlightened masters followed this path and achieved wisdom. So we also gathered here to accumulate that knowledge. In this moment with this sitting, may my body become more comfortable. May my breath be more smooth. May no difficulties come to me. May all the success come to me. Also think for a moment, this is the last moment we're spending in this very lifetime, and detach your mind from all your past memories and as well as any kind of future thoughts. Just try to remain in the present moment, observing the sensation of your inhalations and exhalations. So in the beginning, deeply and gently, breathe in, breathe out 3 times and find the sensation, please. And allow your inhalations, exhalations happen itself. And when it happens through the sensation, recognize it, do nothing extra. Bring your attention to your body, please. Observe your posture. We cultivate loving kindness and compassion in our heart and radiate it as a light through entire your compound, village, city, state, country, world, around this universe. Also, as far as you can, through galaxies, other planets, stars. Reminding yourself like this. With clear intention, mentally repeat after me. May all living beings in this universe be well and happy. May everyone be happy and safe. And may their hearts be filled with joy. May all living beings live in security and in peace. Beings who are frail or strong, tall or short, big or small, visible or not visible, near or far away, already born or yet to be born. May all of them dwell in perfect tranquility. Let no one do harm to anyone. Let no one put the life of anyone in danger. Let no one out of anger or ill will wish anyone any harm. Expand the loving kindness and compassion beginning from your heart. Forward. Visualize yourself and send it as a light. To your backside. To your left side. And to your right side. Downward. And upward. To all 6 directions at once. Like the moon, the sun, spread the light, spread the energy, without any condition, without any limitation, without any resistance or without any judgment. Let your heart to shine with the loving kindness and compassion from the bottom of it, with the maximum effort to the highest. Wishing yourself, may all living beings in this universe be well and happy.
Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So first of all, we offer this practice to the great qualities of the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha. And also by the power of this meritorious deed, may all of us attain to the supreme bliss of Nibbana. May all your guardian angels and deities will receive these merits and increase their longevity and protect all of you from any kind of planetary influences or any ill effects. Ittavata chammihi sampadang punya sampadang sabbe deva numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe bhuta numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe satta numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya Imaya dhamma nu dhamma patipattiya buddham pujemi dhammam pujemi sangham pujemi Attaya imaya patipattiya jati jara vyadi maranam ha paribunjissami Idamme punya kammang asavakkaya vahang hotu sabba dukkha pamuncatu. Bless you.